Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And we are here at the beautiful W Hotel located at 225 River Street in the beautiful city of Hoboken, New Jersey. And today's show is sponsored by Rumble Boxing. Go visit our friends at 1202 Shipyard Lane and Rumble at your own pace. And it's also sponsored by New Jersey Appleseed, giving people a voice while getting others to listen. And folks, I am so excited because we're starting our Hoboken City Council series on this show, and we are joined making his Pulse premiere by Dean Murray. Dean, welcome to the Pulse.
Hi, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Dean, I was wondering if you want to explain to the audience a little bit of a background on yourself.
Sure. Well, I mean, my background is primarily in law. I'm an immigration attorney, a U.S. immigration attorney. That means that people who are looking to come to this country and immigrate to stay here permanently, they have a way to do so. And even people who are visiting, I help them. A lot of my applications are humanitarian based. So they deal with things like women who have been abused or people who have been trafficked into the country. They've been brought here without being fairly treated. Some of the stories are pretty sad, but yeah, that's in a nutshell what my day consists of, what my practice consists of.
Absolutely. So it looks like your background is in helping people, right?
Absolutely.
And, you know, I mean, and one of the things that a lot of people feel that Hoboken has been lacking is constituent services in town. And this is something that you're running, of course, on Councilman Michael Russo's tickets, who's running for mayor, that you guys have focused on. Why do you think Hoboken has had an issue with constituent services at the government level?
Well, I think one of the reasons is people feel that they're not heard by the city council. Sometimes they feel that when they reach out, it's a hit or miss as to whether you receive a response and whether there is follow-up. So I think that's half of the problem. And I think that I could contribute in that regard because I deal with a lot of that. As right now, I'm on the board at my HOA, which is a pretty big association in town. They have about 1,200 people. And that was the same kind of experience that I encountered when I joined the board of the HOA. People were looking for things to be done. They were looking for people to respond to them, to address their issues. And you know, that factors into a lot of how people feel about their association, how people feel about their city.
And how important is that? I mean, you started with your HOA, your condo building, correct?
Yes.
And now you're expanding, hopefully, to represent the whole city as a city councilman at large.
Right.
I mean, why does that excite you, basically?
Well, when I first started my HOA, I got a lot of, I suppose, friends were very doubtful that it would be a job that I would enjoy. They said that it's a volunteer position, and a lot of times it feels like you're doing a lot of work and you don't get a lot of gratitude in exchange for it. I felt differently when I was on my HOA, on the board. People, the more I helped them, the more they appreciated it. And I thought as a result that this is something I'm willing to expand to the citywide level. It just gave me a lot of fulfillment helping people in my association, just like my practice gives me a lot of fulfillment. I'm sure it'll be a great role for me.
That's awesome. Well, we have less than a minute to go.
Okay.
I was wondering if you want to tell the audience why they should entrust you with their votes on Tuesday, November the 4th. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. What your ballot number is and why they should vote the whole Team Russo.
Well, my ballot number is 11H, and they should vote Team Russo because we have an awesome ticket. We have candidates that span the spectrum. We have Nicole's in real estate, Pete's in small business, and Michael is he's been on the council for 22 years. He knows a lot about what happens in the city. Oftentimes he's lecturing other council members. You can see it in the meetings as to what procedures need to be followed. And as a result, we're all political newcomers who've joined the ticket, and we can cover the field very quickly.
Well, Dean Murray, thank you so much. Best of luck going forward, and good luck. Absolutely. And don't go anywhere, folks. We're actually going to be interviewing his running mate, Pete Keeling, in just a few seconds. Really appreciate it again.
Great. Thanks, Peter.
Folks, stay tuned. All right, as promised, we're now joined by City Council at-large candidate Pete Keeling. Pete, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Peter.
Of course, and might I add, just a terrific first name.
Great name.
Right? Like the best, isn't it? All right, Pete. We just had your colleague, or your running mate, I should say, Dean Murray on. I was wondering if you want to explain to the audience a little bit about your background.
So I have been a union Steadicam operator in the film and television world for the
This is
last,
perfect for you.
I don't know, since 2009. Moved to Hoboken in 2010 and been here 15 years now. About 3 years ago, I started what at the time was a side project and has now become my full-time project, which is Bodega Cards, a baseball sports trading card store up in Jersey City Heights.
So interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So definitely have been deep into the small business world for the last couple years. And just, when I moved here, I remember all these unique small businesses that were in Hoboken, all up and down Washington Street. And it seems, in the last 15 years since I've been here, they've slowly chipped away and gone away. So I feel like that's, for me, it's personally sad. And that's something I'm trying to change, you know.
And you touched a chord with me because
Yeah.
as you know, my parents owned a small business in town for 43
Yep.
years. So why do you think Hoboken has become so anti mom and pop shop or small business?
I would say the number one thing is we support these big conglomerate corporate landlords, as I'll call them. The bottom line of value on real estate is kind of all that people care about right now. In fact, the Hoboken Business Alliance, whose mission it is to support small business in Hoboken, spends about 3 to 4 pages of their annual presentation touting their accomplishments, raising rents and raising value for landlords. And I'm sorry, but landlords just aren't small business.
Correct.
So I don't think that that's something that, I feel like they've kind of lost their mission. And it's just time to kind of reroute the ship and focus back on small business here.
Absolutely. And our resident political analyst and myself have spoke highly on this show against the Hoboken Business Alliance. We actually think it should be disbanded. That's us talking, not
Wouldn't
me.
go that far.
I mean, but so change our minds. Why don't you think it should be disbanded? Why should we keep it? And what needs to change?
At its core, it's set out to accomplish something great, and that is to support small businesses and create a thriving environment where entrepreneurs and first-time business owners aren't scared to jump, because that's a lot of the hesitancy is just towards, I don't know how hard it is to do this. How is the permitting process? How much is it going to cost? So I feel like if we can get back to where we're helping people understand what it takes and set them up for success, I think that would be a very worthwhile proposition and something that the HBA could succeed at should they choose to.
Very interesting. Well, we have about a minute left.
Yeah.
I was wondering, as I asked your running mate, Dean, a little earlier, I'm going to ask your other running mates a little later in the show, why should people entrust you with their votes? And Councilman Russo, who's obviously running for mayor at the top of your tickets, vote on November the 4th. And your ballot number, sorry.
I am 10H, and I would love for your support. If you, like me, have noticed the small businesses dwindling and you value that part of your experience here in Hoboken, you want a donut shop, you want a mom and pop stores, and you're, obviously it's nice to have the convenience of an Abercrombie or something like that, but you miss the charm and the vibe that it creates to be in Hoboken. I'm going to do everything in my power to support small businesses, to get new businesses started. We haven't seen a new business in, a long time that really succeeded. So if that's something you're interested in, and if you're a small business owner or an entrepreneur, I highly recommend voting for me.
Well, Pete Keeling, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck going forward, and hopefully we'll see you on a future show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we will be right back. Peter Biancamano here, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, don't forget to follow and like our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok pages. We're constantly updating those platforms with cool stories and awesome reels. Also, you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post all of our full shows, and you can also binge watch all of our previous episodes. And if you would like to contact us, feel free to reach out to our email address at thepulseofpeterb@gmail.com. We'll see you there. Welcome back to the Pulse of Peter B. Peter Biancamano still here in the host chair and here at Maxwell Place Pier, our home base on a gorgeous October day. And folks, we are very, very excited for our next guest because she is making her Pulse premiere. And yes, she came here with her husband, who definitely bench presses about 450, you know, and I'm afraid he's going to kick my butt if I don't do well in this segment. And that is my good friend, the founder and CEO of Zen Om Studios, Mina Haslani. Welcome to the Pulse.
Thank you so much for having me.
Exactly. Well, thank you for coming on this gorgeous day. You saw my jersey come out there, my gorgeous,
I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. So I think it's important for people to hear a background on Zen Om Studio.
Sure. So Zen Om Studio is a place that's a one-stop shop for biohacking. So basically anything that's recovery and pain management, we've got you. So if your body needs some reduced inflammation, it needs some, cell regeneration, some alkaline blood, whatever it is, your aches and pains, anything that you need, relax, recover, renew, that's what we do.
Okay. So more specifically, let's talk about your background, because now I'm like, I got a back pain right now. What could you do for me? But I think it's important we touch upon your background first. How did you get to Zen Om?
So I had a procedure for my kidney, and through that, I had a recovery process of about 20 months. Not 20 months, I'm sorry, of 2 months. And in those 2 months, I was just having a really hard time with just the medication. And my now husband, then friend, AJ, suggested I try cryotherapy. And cryotherapy completely changed my outlook on my recovery, and it gave me hope. And then I started learning about all the different modalities like infrared sauna, hemp therapy, red light therapy. We do compression therapy, all these modalities that are biohacking. It's basically recovery of the future now. And we're just really happy to bring it to Hoboken.
That is fat. And how long have you had the space there?
We've had the space for 2 years.
Wow.
So that's how I got into it. I started doing the cryo, learning about it, and then we fell in love. And once we fell in love, we decided to bring this to Hoboken because there was a huge recovery gap. And we just wanted to fill that. And it's been so gratifying to be able to be here to do that.
Oh, that's fantastic. That really is. Now, you mentioned a lot of your services, whether that's compression therapy, red light therapy, cryogenics, correct?
Cryogenics,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I thought I was going to stumble.
Therapy. That's how you did it.
What type of therapy are each of those specifically? And what do they, I don't want to say cure, but what do they help heal in one's body?
Sure. So everything has a different, benefit, but everything is recovery pain management. Cryotherapy reduces inflammation, helps with your muscle recovery. It helps with your sleep, your mood, your skin. It's anti-aging. Infrared sauna is really good for stress relief. It's good for detox. It's good for soreness, stiffness, cardiovascular disease. It reduces your risk of it by about 51%, which is incredible. Red light therapy is great for wound healing. It's good for chronic pain, builds collagen. We also do green light, which is very new to the wellness industry, which calms your nervous system. It helps with migraines. We love it. And we also do pink light, which is really good for skin.
Oh my goodness, that is just phenomenal. You said a lot there, so I'm trying to
I did.
try to break
I think
down.
I forgot to mention one of our underdog modalities. Our underdog modality is PEMF therapy. So that's a mat that sends a magnetic field throughout your whole body, and it finds areas that need healing. So it finds your aches and pains and helps you heal them. So you might be on the mat and you'll feel the whole magnetic field, and you'll be like, oh, I feel it in my right shoulder, or oh, I feel it in my lower back. And then we'll target that area for you so that we can help you heal.
So phenomenal. I mean, I'm learning so much here. And when I stop talking on my own show that I'm just like, exacerbated with all this information. So I'm an athlete, correct? Well, I was an athlete back in my day.
Yeah.
But I played hockey, let's just say. I played goalie in hockey. My knee's banged up. When I'm walking, it's cracking. My lower back is killing me because I was a 6'3" goalie and so on and so forth. I come to see you and I'm like, what type of therapy is, beneficial for me? What would you tell me?
So the foundation of the studio is cryotherapy. So everyone should try cryotherapy unless it's not recommended by a doctor, which is very rare. But start with that as the baseline treatment, and then everyone moves up from there. Then you would be like, oh, let me try a little red light. That's just 10 minutes. Little PEMF therapy, that's 30 minutes. Sauna, that's 30 minutes. So the more consistent you are, the more you feel it. So we've been getting more NFL players in. We've got the St. Peter's college basketball team in. Now we have some high school football players coming in, and seeing them recover faster has been amazing. And we have patients with doctor referrals that come in specifically for red light or cryo or sauna, and they're all healing faster.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head, but I don't know if you want to add a little bit more to this. Why should people use your services? Meaning that, we're at the pier today on an 85-degree day.
Yes,
and people are
that's
jogging
correct.
back and forth on concrete, which apparently is not so good for your knees.
Not
and
good
so-
for you. No.
But, what do you want to tell people who may be watching at home? Hey, I'm a little hesitant in trying
Yeah.
these different type of therapies. Why should they come see you?
I would say that when people are hesitant, we like to say investing in your wellness, it really is an investment. It's not an expense. You want to be ready for the future now. And there's so many things that can be avoided. Like red light helps with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease. It's so many things happening at once that why not? Why are you not going to start today?
Amen. Amen. I like that. Why not start now?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you mentioned that you are in business now for 2 years.
Yes, we are.
I wonder if you want to tell the audience how they can go about possibly scheduling an appointment. Also, where they can find you, as we have geese visiting us now.
Yes, I love
I know.
geese, yes.
And geese fly together. Look at the flying V.
Yeah.
And any other information that you might think is pertinent for people to come see you.
So we are located on 129 Washington Street between 1st and 2nd on the 2nd floor. And you can book an appointment by going to our website, www.zenhomestudio.com, or you can go on the app Moments, find us there and book there, or you can give us a call and come in for a free tour.
Absolutely. And we have about 2 minutes to go here, Mina. And I just want to ask you, you get a patient in, or a client in, let's just say. Yeah, I don't always really say patient, but you get a client in.
Yeah.
And they tell me, my God, this compression therapy, this cryogenics, really, really assisted me, into where I don't feel as sore or as painful
Correct.
as I did.
Happens
That's
all the
music
time.
to yours, correct?
Yes, music.
I don't know if
for-
you want to, without obviously mentioning,
Yeah.
specifically, but
Yeah.
do you have like a story you can tell about possibly a client who benefited from your services?
Okay, well, there's been so many of them. We have one member that suffers from chronic migraines. So she started doing cryotherapy and green light, and she's seen a tremendous change. We have one client that's a doctor who's very busy himself and does not want to take cortisone shots. And now he's doing cryo, red light, sauna. And that's been a huge game changer in his own recovery. So he's sending patients over. So I think there's been a few stories. And of course, the sports players, when you get football players in, huge guys, massive, you could tell they're football players. They've been super kind when they come in, but they see a drastic change in their recovery when they come in. So before games, they like to stop in at Zen. It's always a good idea just to get your body boosted and ready.
Oh, I love that. Boosted and ready. Almost like watching the pulse. We get you ready for everything you need to know. Mina, we have a few seconds left. Is there anything you want to add? Maybe drop your information again about your location, where people can schedule an appointment and all
Okay,
that.
I think mainly I'd like to end with the fact that we're a family-owned business. I run it with my husband. My mom helps out. We're still grateful to be in the Hoboken community. We love taking parts in events. We're partnered with so many local businesses. And just come check us out. You won't be sorry.
All right. Well, look at it. And give me the address one more time.
It's 129 Washington between 1st and 2nd.
129 Washington Street, Zen Home Studios. And yes, I have to look at her pants because the swag is so cool. Mina Haslani, who is the founder and CEO. Thank you so much.
Thank
Best
you
of
for
luck
having
going
me.
forward.
Thank you so much.
We hope to possibly have you on a future show where we
Would
maybe
love that.
maybe I could test some of these therapies,
Yes,
right?
let's do it.
I mean,
do
the
it.
crew would love that too. Trust me,
Yeah. Let's get you all in some red light and some cryo.
Absolutely love it. Thank you
All
again. I
right.
really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
All right, folks. We will be right back. Peter Biancamano back with you. Folks, we have a new television home. After being on cable access for so long, we are now strictly on streaming. So download the Surge Sports and Entertainment TV app on your Roku TV or your Amazon Fire TV and catch our new episodes every Sunday at 9 a.m. We will see you there. Welcome back to The Pulse with Peter B. Now here in the W Hotel located at 225 River Street in the beautiful city of Hoboken, New Jersey. And we are so happy to continue our Hoboken City Council at Large candidate interviews and making her Pulse premiere. It's a familiar face around town because I've seen posters of her everywhere. It is Nicole Magaña. Did I say that correctly?
You did. Thank you very much, Peter.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to The Pulse.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Nicole, I wonder if you want to explain to the audience a little bit about your background.
Sure. I've been living in Hoboken for 18 years now. Actually, 17 years this month. I've been doing real estate full time. So I've been on the front lines watching the city change and develop over time.
Wow, unbelievable. So, and you mentioned real estate, so we're going to kind of segue into the housing crisis in Hoboken.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there's just not enough, inventory, as they say, in the square mile city. I think the recent census has us close, probably over 65,000 residents and so on and so forth. I was wondering if you want to explain, especially affordable housing. I was wondering if you want to explain to the audience your plan and, of course, Michael Russo's plan, who's running on Councilman Russo's plan, who, you're running on his ticket regarding the housing crisis going forward.
Sure. I mean, housing, obviously, I'm on the front lines and I've been watching it. Over the last 7 to 11 years, the majority of housing being built is luxury rentals. What is that doing for our market? That's putting a squeeze on the condo market. We need more affordable housing and workforce housing and senior housing, but we also need more middle income housing. So that's really important. I think we need more housing that is meant and geared towards home ownership. When Hoboken went through its renaissance in the late 90s and early 2000s, that was from a growth of new home ownership in town. And we've gotten away from that.
Wow, unbelievable. And you mentioned more housing. I mean, and this way more families can stay, because how many times do families leave Hoboken because they basically get spaced out? They keep having children and things like that. So I'm assuming that is a focus of Councilman Russo and your campaign.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we need everything from, plans like Garage B to build that up for affordable and workforce housing. But we also need more condos that reach the middle ground. Really, what the city needs to do is we need to revamp our master plan. The building codes just don't make sense anymore. For example, Peter, there's a property in town. It can fit 6 to 10 units. Right now, it's for sale, but it is zoned for 3. I don't think we need another 3 over $2 million condos.
Wow. And I want to touch up on that. So it's zoned for 3. This way they can price it at more money, correct?
Well, I'm not sure if that was the original intent of the building code, of the zoning back then, but it's so old, it needs to be revised to see what the city's current needs are. It needs to be adjusted.
And I'm sure there's probably multiple properties in town like that.
There are, actually.
All right, Nicole, we have a little bit over a minute left. I was wondering if you want to tell the audience why they should entrust you with their vote for the election on Tuesday, November 4th. Folks, polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and maybe why they should vote for your running mates and the top of your ticket in Councilman Russo.
We need more home ownership in town. I would like to see more condos being built. I would like to see safer streets. I would like to see enforcement actually happen. We need a tenant advocacy office. There are so many things that the city needs that we want to bring to City Hall. Common sense back to our decisions. So make sure you vote 9H and Team Russo. That's how we're going to make these things a reality.
Thank you so much, Nicole. We really appreciate you coming on the show, and best of luck going forward in your campaign.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sit right there because we're actually going to have your running mate, Ryan Cunningham, in just a few seconds. Folks, stay tuned. All right, as promised, we have Ryan Cunningham joining us, and he is running for Hoboken's 6th Ward Council seat in the special election. Ryan, welcome to The Pulse. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, really appreciate you having me.
Really appreciate you coming on. So you are running for the open seat, with the tragic loss of Councilwoman Jen Giattino. And that election is the same day as the mayoral and the governor and the council at large elections on Tuesday, November the 4th. So I was wondering if you want to start telling the audience a little bit about yourself, a little bit of a background.
Yeah, so I've been here for about 10 years. My wife and I recently, or not rather recently, back in 2018, bought our place next to Moran's on 5th and Garden.
Nice.
We have 2 kids. And so, you know, for me, the reason why I decided to get involved in local politics, it was something I never aspired for. I tell people all the time, I am not a politician. For me, it was just over the last handful of years, I really watched as Hoboken presented itself as a leading city, but I felt like at the same time we weren't actually doing enough to lead. And I felt in watching recent incidents like the nanny that got assaulted in Church Square Park, you know, there's obviously all the low-hanging fruit items that everybody's talking about, e-bikes, public safety, quality of life, those things, you know, I really started to see a big difference in how those little things sort of added up to bigger things. And I felt like it was a good time for me and my wife to, because again, my wife's doing this just the same way I am.
It's a team effort, right? Yeah.
It's 100% a team effort, and it felt like a good time to sort of set an example, one for my kids, but also try to give back a little bit to the community and just a place that we call home.
Yeah, and you're running on, of course, Councilman Michael Russo-Slade, as he's running for mayor, and he's released a detailed public safety plan. You mentioned about the nanny in Church Square Park, which is, I believe, the 6th ward. I believe it encompasses a few wards. And what specifically are you looking for that needs to be changed in terms of public safety so nannies can be safe in Church Square Park?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you saw a very rapid and intense response in Church Square Park specifically, where now there's regular police presence and things like that. As I mentioned, you know, oftentimes there's a lot of little things that add up, and those little things can create a big difference in the community. And I think from a public safety perspective, we have to look at all things that tie to public safety. One thing that we talked a lot about internally as well, just amongst the rest of the running mates that are on Michael's slate, was just about public safety and the importance of water. You know, we as a city have become so accustomed to this, what really is a crisis, and that water has really become a regular reoccurrence of boil water advisories. And how can we be a safe community whenever we don't have drinking water? And so beyond all of that, that kind of goes a little bit off on a tangent, but it's a very important thing whenever we think about safety to also reinforce, if we don't have water, how are we being safe? But again, it's looking at the little things and how we can do a better job of maintaining our parks, how we can do a better job of ensuring that, you know, people that are displaced, whether, you know, they're homeless or, you know, they're going through a tough time, that they're treated with dignity and they're given an opportunity to get back on their feet. And we're doing enough from a local level to protect them.
No, that is fantastic. And I do want to shift a little to recreation. You just came from, I believe, your son's game, if I'm not mistaken. You know, how do you think Hoboken can possibly expand their recreation programs if you're lucky enough to get elected?
Yeah, so that's something I'm really passionate about. Again, I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. I coach the youth soccer team. And for me, it's about access. And so whenever you're in a very urban environment like Hoboken is, you are somewhat limited by space. And so what we need to do is we need to partner with local businesses more. You know, one thing that I'm very passionate about is golf. We have a great simulator facility in Hudson Golf. I think that's a tremendous opportunity to expand opportunities for, you know, local youth kids at a young age, you know, 5, 6 years old, and run them on weekends, especially with winter months coming up. It's, you know, it's really important that we find opportunities for kids to have access to different things other than just soccer, football, and things like that.
No, that's fantastic. So Ryan, we are unfortunately out of time. I do want you to mention to the audience in 30 seconds why they should come out on November 4th and vote for you and your slate mates, and maybe your ballot number as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, again, my name's Ryan Cunningham. I appreciate everybody tuning in. It's really important for me that you all understand that I'm approaching this as a Hoboken dad, somebody that is not a politician. I run a business. And for me, it's very important that I think we as a city begin to move forward. And so that's sort of what I'm running on. That's what Team Russo is running on. We have a lot of plans. We have bold plans, and we're looking for a real solution. So really appreciate it.
And your ballot number?
7I.
7I. Thank you, Ryan. Best
Awesome.
of luck going forward.
Thank
I
you
really,
very much.
really appreciate it. Thanks
Appreciate
again.
it.
Ryan Cunningham, 6th Ward Council candidate. Thanks again.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, folks, join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. I hope you have a great week, everybody.